Hello YouTubers, this is noobifier. On the 16th of August 2024, there was an hour-long Star Citizen Live Q&A, Frankfurt, design team, contested zones, and asteroid bases. What a title. Here's what you need to know. Jared introed the show by saying that SE Live was focused on making European developers work later on a Friday. I think that was a joke. We had Can, John, and Emmanuel, questions from chat and questions from Spectrum, asteroid bases, and contested zones. Jared said no questions outside of those two would be answered. They said that they're working to ensure that all of these new bases don't begin to feel the same by diversifying the missions available at the locations. They said this like 6 times today. I guess they really mean it. They will ensure that all of the locations will have many ways in and out to ensure that they will not seem repetitive or stale. They defined some aspects of PKing, saying that camping and playing dirty is actually meant to be part of the game. And at the 24-minute mark, it became clear that yes, questions were being asked and answers were being made, but none of the information was really specifically new or something that we didn't already know from before. That's not to sound negative, just an observation. They then confirmed that we know that Pyro is vastly larger than Stanton, which would add to a logistical complexity of getting around, and they said that they can add more rest stops if that becomes a balance problem. And I expect to see 30 threads pop up in Spectrum from people who have owned a Starfare for the last 10 years, expecting that gameplay was going to be needed. The contested zones are PvP and PvE areas, so they have spawn closets and will periodically poop out an NPC to keep the action and threat fresh. They confirmed that there should be no mimics in these areas, but that some items might actually be booby-trapped, so you'll be able to counter that by scanning. And of course, there didn't seem to be any date that would be a thing in game. It's more like a, yes, well, let's do this. Jared then asked off camera who he would need to talk to get a mimic approved and then added to the game in the future. Going into the contested zone alone was said to be a really bad idea. Jared did some damage control after a bit of backlash on Spectrum by saying that, yeah, it's fine that all of this cool stuff is being added to Pyro, but they still plan to add it to Stanton and other systems in the future, but not for 4.0, but soon, TM. Chat then asked if there would be domesticated versions of the creatures that we could own, and they said, sure, that's possible, but it's currently only planned for NPCs. Specifically, an NPC gang might have a couple of quote-unquote dogs around that when you attack them, the dogs attack you back. They said that some of the contested zones would be easier than others. They said that each contested zone would offer different rewards to give you a different reason to try others. They said that each contested zone would be broken down into 3 smaller zones that escalate in difficulty, and they said that more difficulty would output a better loot. Right. Jared confirmed that there were no plans to allow players to be able to marry a sandworm in-game legally. Along with the contested zones, chat asked for social zones, and they said basically that the entire rest of the space station was already considered to be the social space. Jared asked how the procedural tools were coming for the asteroid bases because they were still being hand-built. They confirmed that the results are better when the team has full control over the bases. They weren't happy with the procedural results, and they currently have no solution for that, but they want to work towards this once they have a lot more experience building them. They ended with 20 disclaimers and then they went home for the weekend. That's it. If you like the content, got something out of it, please consider sharing with a friend or org-mate. I'm going to the property to work on it. So nice to have a farm. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Fly safe and I'll see you in the verse.